Hi, it's Dia. Today I'm going to take these crazy art swirled pencils that I got while I was looking for, of course, something completely different at Staples. And I got them for about $3. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool to test to see if I could do any kind of decent picture with this? There's only 5 colors or swirled colors, so that probably means there's 3 colors in each pencil, so I guess there's approximately 15 colors in there. But since there's 3 colors in each pencil, it's not as easy to figure out how to use them or how to make them look like you want the results to come out. So first blush, I started to use the lightest one that was there, which is orange, yellow, and reddish, or maybe raspberry. And the pencils are hard. They're probably even harder than Crayola pencils. And when I first started using them, I wanted to use them right out of the box. First of all, because not everybody's going to have a sharpener like that. And second of all, I just wanted to see what it was going to be like using them with no interference, no sharpening, no bending, nothing. And they were kind of hard. So you can see me swirling the pencil and looking at the tip because I instinctively started to look for the color I wanted to get, but you don't have complete control because even if, let's say, a little thread of yellow was at the very bottom and you were using it, poof, suddenly you're using orange and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm going to keep this in real time just because it's not that long and I wanted you to see the whole thing. Oh, and before I really get into the whole thing, this was supposed to be a giveaway video, but I'm going to put the giveaway video out on Thursday because it ended up to be a collaboration with another lovely, talented YouTuber. And so there will be twice as many prizes. And so sorry about not having it today, but the wait will be worth it. So now back to the picture. Since there's only 5 pencils in there, I was trying to figure out what I wanted this to look like. And I did want to incorporate shading and depth into this flower, even though there wasn't a whole lot of options. So I left certain areas light, and the areas that I left light were the areas that I envisioned the petal being slightly bumped up or curved, so the sun or the light source would be hitting that area. I didn't have the option of, well, I mean, I could do anything, but in my head, I just wanted to use these 5 pencils and that's it. So rather than being able to go back and erase or use a white Signo pen, I just left them light. So I kind of had to figure the idea of where the creases were going to be first, and then I left those areas lighter. Now right here, I started a little bit away from the edge because I thought maybe the light would be hitting over there and the edge of the petal would be brighter. So if I went all the way to the edge, there was no other light choice in this set. So the light choice would be nothing, meaning don't fill it in. I also wanted to use only these 5 pencils because I think we get caught up in a mindset, and I do this too, that more is better. We have to have the best set. We have to have, you know, the 200 pencil set versus the 72 pencil set. And I know I've said this before, but I illustrated at one point an entire kid's book with 24 not colored pencils, charcoal pencils, and the results were lovely. Sometimes it's nice to have a limited palette. Now this was even more of an adventure because I had never used this type of pencil before. So I assumed that this image was going to be somewhat of a sacrifice. And that's actually okay. Sometimes that has to be done. If you haven't done a technique or you wanted to try something new, you can always try to draw the image, a sketch of it. It doesn't have to be perfect, and try the technique first. Or you can be totally brave and give it a whirl, because every single thing that we do teaches us something. Sometimes we don't even realize it. I think the most important thing about this review and attempt was that I totally had a ball, because I had no preconceived notion of what this was going to be. And I assumed it wasn't going to be perfect because I spent very little money on the pencils. And I just figured I would give it a whirl. And part of me thought in my head that this is how I should almost approach every single image, not just coloring, but the stuff that I do when I design the book or I'm illustrating a book. It was so I felt unencumbered with the pressure to be perfect. Oh, here's the second pencil. This one, I guess it was red, purple, and almost a magenta. You can see that I was trying to get that purpley shade into the shadowy areas, because I wanted there to be some depth. But I was kind of at the mercy of the pencil. See, over here it got a little bit lighter, and then you see the magenta, and then it went back to the purple. So yes, you have some control over it, but not nearly as much as you would have with a regular set. And if I was to describe what they felt like, I would probably say as close to, well, I don't know if you remember these. Remember that set of crayons that we used to get in grammar school? And I think they were Crayola crayons. It was probably 8 in a box, and they had the flat side so they wouldn't roll off our desk. That's what these pencils feel like. Almost that like scratchy kind of slightly pencil-like crayon way. So I don't know how else to describe them. They're an interesting mixture of, like I said, a pencil and that old-fashioned kind of crayon. These aren't super pigmented, and I would have to say that the orange and the red seem to be more pigmented, strangely enough, than the darker purple or the greens. And I will be using the greens a little bit later on a leaf and a bit of a stem. Also, I found myself trying to make more lines and creases because I couldn't get the colors to draw any darker. So I added more interest on the petal itself rather than trying to make the colors more vibrant, because it just wasn't working. Now here's a third pencil. This one had yellow, kind of a plum color, and a red. Now this one I found the hardest to control. First of all, because the yellow wasn't as bright as I thought it was going to be, so I kind of had to work around that. And the mixture of the yellow and I guess the red, it wasn't doing much, especially at first. And it did kick in a little bit more. I don't know if there was some kind of I don't know if there's a protective coating on the tip of these pencils when you first started working on it, or just the fact that it was sharpened to a strange point rather than it being super pointy. it was sort of sharpened and then there was like a flat surface. So as you can see, I'm still trying to get this one going, and it did eventually sort of kick in a little bit more, and the red was more like a, well, what I thought was a red kind of was more like a carnation slash hot pink, and it added nice dimension to these leaves. Okay, the other thing about the pencil is the area that I did go over from this pencil with the yellow. If I tried to go over it again, that was tough. So I don't know if these are wax or oil, but the filler, it makes it hard to layer. My father is a photographer, and since I was young, I've always had a relatively good camera, and I've liked to take pictures myself. And some of the pictures that you see are based on pictures that I've taken and my friend Val has taken, and actually that my dad has taken too. And even though I veer off in my coloring books, meaning in all different directions, I go cute, I go Halloween, I always go back to the flowers. In fact, the garden seems to be the basis for almost all of my books, and will probably be in the future also. My next book will also have many images with flowers, and I don't know, I find them fascinating. And the more I draw them, the more I find out there is to discover about them. I want to see smaller and smaller versions. They're just gorgeous. The colors are amazing, and there's nothing in nature that we can, not colorists, but society can make any better. It's all there, all the colors, they're just beautiful. So yes, in my very long-winded bit right here, I just wanted to tell you, you will be seeing more flowers and more botanicals, I guess, in my future books. So right about here, I was really itching to grab like a bright yellow pencil or something with more pigment. But I didn't. I held back, and I did the entire picture with those 5 pencils. And you'll have to tell me what you think. I'm actually glad that I did this review, because I don't think I would completely dismiss these pencils as something that colorists should avoid. They're inexpensive, they're super fun, and they're almost an experiment. It's kind of like you're a kid and you can get that just free feeling again to just do whatever you want with nothing attached to it. Oh, I'm adding some veins and some interest in the leaves. I'm going over the lighter areas with slightly darker areas. And it looks like there's creases, and the flowers have nice folds in them. It's also great to get surprised occasionally when the pencil changes color, because you might not have tried that on your own, but you were kind of forced because the pencil just did it. And it's a nice surprise. It comes out by accident, and it's beautiful, and it might be something you can incorporate in future images. Now this one looks like it would be green, yellow, and turquoise. And I was kind of hoping for the green in the center. And this one had the most variety. It went from yellow to green to turquoise. So I really had not a whole lot of control. Oop, there, I found a little bit yellow, so I was so happy. So I took advantage of it. and I drew it, well, I was trying to draw it in the areas that I was going for with when I was thinking I wanted to pick up a yellow pencil. But I got some of it done right there. I was so happy. And then it didn't last very long. It went back to green. And I also found with this pencil I couldn't get very dark colors. But the turquoise in this pencil made for a very nice shadow color, so I thought it would be nice to add to the more purple leaves to add some detail, and that worked out really nice. And I even darkened up some of the shadow areas in the other creases that were just purple. Whoop, I lost that vein. And then I found it again. So I made those areas a little darker because I thought those would be a little deeper in the petal. And once again, this was an experiment. And I figured I could just keep on going because I didn't know how far I could take it. Oh, the other thing is some of the colors were easier to draw on top of than other colors. Like I said before, the yellow was practically impossible. The orange, that one probably had the best coverage. I was trying to make the stem green, but it came out more purplish and turquoise, and there was nothing I could do about it at that point, so I left it and I went back to it a bit later. Now I'm just fussing around, adding more orange, which I really ended up liking, because that orange does have the best pigment in the set, and it does go over everything else better than any of the other colors also. So I was pushing a little bit harder here, and I was, like I said, really liking the results. I even ended up adding some orange into the top purpley leaves too, which I liked. I probably should have said this earlier, but this image that I'm coloring is from my coloring book, Coloring Dreams, and it was also in the children's book that I illustrated. In fact, it was on the cover, colored, of course, that I illustrated years ago. Now, I was ready to review this set of pencils and tell you all that it wasn't great and I didn't think it was worth it, but I had more fun doing this than I have had coloring in a very long time. And I think that this set is totally worth the money, and it makes me feel like this is kind of what coloring is all about. Not every picture has to be a masterpiece. This was just so much fun. What I'm doing now is going back and forth with the colors that I've already used. I'm adding a little bit more shadow, and I'm not being as cautious about what color comes out. I'm not looking at the tip as much. I'm kind of just winging it and kind of letting it happen. And I'm really liking the results. I thought that I was going to keep the purple and the orange petals completely separate, but I'm using purple in the orange and orange in the purple. And I even ended up using some of the greens and the turquoises that I thought I was only going to use for the leaves also in the petals, and I thought it even made it look more natural and realistic and botanical. I kind of went off the edge a little bit here. Sorry about that. This leaf was interesting to me because I thought that I would color in the background first, and the pencil was cooperating a bit. It was giving me green, And then for that little swirly area, I was gonna go over it all, but then I thought, let me kind of go in the shape, and I'm kind of glad I did because it wasn't a big difference, but the green kind of turned into turquoise and it made that area stand out. So now when I first started coloring in those veins, it was almost like a turquoise, and then it switched over to purple. And I couldn't do anything about it, so rather than fight it, I went along with it, and it added some really nice dimension. In the round area, I wanted it to almost look like it was standing up off the leaf a bit. You know, maybe it was raised, and that worked out really nicely too. I hope you like this kind of review video, and if you do, either give me a like or tell me below in the comments, because I love to do what you want to see, because I want you to keep watching me. So are these pencils perfect? Absolutely not. Are they interesting? Yes, very much, and I would recommend them. In fact, I might even add them to my next giveaway. So they'll be gently and slightly used, but I think that they're so much fun. In fact, this kind of thing is where the complete relaxation of coloring comes in my opinion, because you don't have any predetermined anything in your head, and you're just coloring for the pure joy of it. Now I'm taking that green pencil, like I said, that I thought I was only going to use in the leaves, and I'm incorporating a little bit more shadow and more veins, and just basically having a ball. Oop. More purple, magenta, red. And I could have fussed with this all day, but I didn't want to do a 2-hour review of 5 pencils. So I'm so glad you joined me. Thank you so much. I hope you liked this. And like I said, give me a thumbs up. And if you liked it, subscribe to me and hit the little bell. And those were the 5 pencils. Whoops. Sorry for that shakiness. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a closer view. So stay tuned. The giveaway with the collaboration is coming next week. I give these pencils a thumbs up, and I will see you soon. I hope you subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.